This is workshop number 3, video number 7, and we are talking about becoming an excellent employee, specifically step number 4, which is agreeing expectations, deadlines, and consequences. We live in an amazing world with great technology that allows us to be very efficient. But when it comes to setting expectations and getting agreement on those expectations, email is not the best medium. You could call someone and you can have a conversation with them, or if you work in the same office, you can speak to them and say, I need this part ordering by such and such a date. If I don't get the part by Wednesday, then the technician can't complete their job. By having a conversation with someone, whether it's in person, whether it's on the phone, they then accept your deadline, they accept responsibility for meeting your expectation by a certain date. When you send an email and you ask someone to send something to you or you order something, it's very impersonal. And often, even if you get an email response, you still haven't had that personal interaction with someone. And most of the time, you've set an expectation and that person delivers, but sometimes you need to actually pick up the phone. The more important it is that you get something by a deadline, whether it's a part, whether it's a sale, or just a confirmation on a date. The more important it is, the more important it is that you pick up the phone and speak to them, and that you get acceptance that that person has taken responsibility for whatever your deadline is. I know that this seems tedious, but if you can take a few minutes up front to get agreement from someone to explain the significance of whatever you're requiring so that they take ownership, it will make such a difference in the long run. That really is all managing people is about, is managing those relationships and your expectations of them. So make sure that you define exactly what you expect and why, that you get agreement from that person on the expectation and the deadline, and that they understand the consequences if they can't meet your deadline. Because when they understand the consequences, they see the big picture, it just allows them to take more ownership. But then the other thing that you have to accept when you are getting agreement from people is you have to look to yourself. Are you leading by example? If you are super organized and whenever you make a request from someone, you give them plenty of time to be able to fulfill that request, whether it's ordering something, completing a task, then you allow them to take ownership and be able to plan their time accordingly to deliver for you. If, however, you are last minute, you run from one crisis to another, and those around you, you're always saying, can you do this? I need you to do that. And it's all last minute requests or expectations, then people will get frustrated. And so when you ask someone to step up and do something for you, they realize that you're in a panic, and they just know that you're always in a panic, and it doesn't have any significance for them. They don't take ownership of whatever request you've asked for because they know that you're last minute, that you're firefighting, and so it's very hard to get people to step up and take ownership of whatever you've requested from them. They'll just brush you off because they know that you're not particularly organized. But if you are that person who's organized and you give everybody as much advance warning as possible and you get their agreement on whatever the deliverable is that you need, then if you do have a last minute crisis, everybody will step up and try and help you. So make sure when you set an expectation that you have got agreement from that person that they can meet your expectation, they've taken ownership of whatever you've asked them to do, and they understand the consequences if they don't meet your deadline. And then make sure you're leading by example, that you're respecting other people's time, other people's priorities, and giving people as much of a heads up or advance warning of whatever you need. So that is it. Agree expectations, deadlines, and consequences. Step number 4 to becoming an excellent employee.